Would I be the asshole for skipping my brother's wedding after he skipped mine? I, 27 female, got married to my husband, 28 male, last April. We sent our wedding invites out a full year before our wedding and sent reminders 6 months before. My brother Jacob, 22 male, is the youngest of 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy, and my parents have always treated him like their precious gold child who can do no wrong. As adults, this has caused a lot of tension between us. He acts like a raging hormonal 16-year-old boy. It's definitely gotten worse with his fiancée Kelly, 21 female, enabling his bad behavior. Kelly is constantly telling him we don't appreciate him and we should be grateful to have him as a sibling. My parents think me and my sisters don't understand him and we don't give him enough grace. Jacob told me a week before my wedding he wasn't coming because he was going to be busy with Kelly and they were going on vacation. I begged him to come and emphasized how important it was to me he came to my wedding. My mom got involved at this point and assured me he would be there and not to worry. I didn't find out until an hour before I walked down the aisle he wasn't there and didn't intend to be. I was devastated. My sisters and husband had to calm me down. I had my heart set on my entire family coming and he was our ring bearer. When Jacob told our family him and Kelly were engaged, I was happy for him. He announced his wedding date was May 30th of this year. He emphasized we all have to be there. His fiancée sent a text saying that our attendance was mandatory. I've been debating skipping his wedding. I don't get along well with Kelly and my brother skipped my wedding. I mentioned possibly not going to my mom and she was pissed and told everyone. Now my brother, Kelly, and my parents are calling me an asshole, brat, and petty for maybe skipping his wedding. My sisters and husband agree with me I don't have to go since they didn't go to mine. But IDK, would I be the asshole for skipping my brother's wedding? Minor update. Turns out my husband isn't invited and my oldest sister's wife isn't invited either. Kelly doesn't want any spouses there since those are, in her words, temporary, and she doesn't want them in any pictures. My oldest sister has decided not to attend because of that reason. I found this out 5-ish minutes after I posted. Not the asshole. Sounds like your parents enable his behavior. Mom said he would be at your wedding and I bet she didn't get mad at him when he didn't show. Not the asshole. They're 22 and 21. I would be honest and tell him you'll catch his next one. Why should you have to be the bigger person, or keep the peace? That's ridiculous. Not the asshole. It's an invitation. You're free to decline for any reason. His fiancée is out of line to demand the family attend. Your brother didn't attend your wedding, he shouldn't be upset if you don't go to his. His behavior is incredibly hypocritical. Tell them all to go pound sand. Not the asshole. But also, why was he outposes to be the ring bearer at your wedding? Isn't that usually something done by a child? His fiancée sent a text saying that our attendance was mandatory. Not the asshole. What's she going to do if you don't turn up? Fine you? I mean, it's an invitation to an event you don't have to attend if you don't want to. Only thing to consider is any lasting damage to relationships you might rather not destroy by not going like your parents. With the update, I suggest you and your oldest sister and your respective spouses go out for a nice dinner or a holiday together and appreciate your time together. Am I the asshole for making my mom confess a family secret on her deathbed? My mom had 3 sons. My stepdad, George, was the father of my baby brother, Alan, or so we thought. When I was young I discovered the secret while at the dining table with my aunt and grandmother were having a conversation. My aunt spilled the beans that my stepdad was not my youngest brother's real father. Years later me and my mother were out having a few drinks just enjoying each other's company and she said, "Oh my God, that's Alan's real dad." We didn't speak to him and I wasn't exactly sure which guy she was talking about. Eventually, George died, keeping the secret. Fast forward to 2023, Alan and his wife apparently had discussed how he looked nothing like George at all and wondered was that his real dad. I told him he'd have to talk to mom, but I told him what I knew, which wasn't much. I felt bad springing it on mom cause I knew that she didn't have much time left, but she was the only one that had the answer. Everybody else who was privy to it was dead by this point and my brother wanted to find who his real dad was so he can know his family history, family medical history, if he has other siblings out there, you know, that kind of stuff. Mom tried to deny it but I pressured her. I got loud with her. I'm not proud of it. But she finally admitted to Alan, and what little information she could remember, or was willing to release, was just enough that with a little searching we were able to find him. Mom passed August 6, 2023. A couple months before this Alan was united with his birth father. Am I the asshole for pressing my mom in her final weeks? I felt like it caused Alan to be standoffish and he rarely came by to check on her after that. I changed the names of people mentioned. Why on earth was she still lying about it? Did the guy turn out to be scary or something? Not the asshole. If I were Alan I'd still do a DNA test. Not the asshole. I could see if Alan didn't ask and George was alive. But she was just keeping silent over pride at that point. Good thing you pushed so Alan could meet his bio dad. No one was harmed in this, but it would have been a lot harder for Alan if she died without telling him. Not the asshole. She needed to tell Alan the truth before she passed away. You were right to get her to do so. Not the asshole. Apparently everyone knew except poor Alan. In situations like this you got lucky that Alan wasn't upset with everyone else that already knew he had a different dad. I'm not saying he should have. But that was a lot for him to unpack. You are the asshole and good for you. I am a firm believer in, don't die with secrets. My mother died with secrets that are partially revealed in paperwork, and anyone who would know the full details is long gone. I have so many questions. My dear friends are going to pass without ever telling their daughters they have a brother. The girls are going to figure it out because there's a paper trail. And if they ever look closely at old photos they're going to see him. Lies are more painful than the truth. Am I the asshole for walking out of a house showing? My husband and I, 29F, are in the process of looking for a house for our family. We looked at a couple of houses today with my Phil, kids, and realtor, Bob. Bob was my in-laws' realtor for the house they currently live in, and they appear to be close, but my husband and I haven't met him before starting our house hunting process. He was recommended to us by my in-laws. At the first house, we looked at the mudroom first, but because it was so tiny, everyone went in, except Bob and I. The two of us stayed back in the kitchen. I was looking the countertops and Bob was leaning against the cabinets waiting for everyone else, letting everyone look at the mudroom space. While everyone else was in the mudroom, I asked our realtor if this house is the house we discussed that have 2 bedrooms downstairs and 2 bedrooms upstairs. Bob looked at me, rolled his eyes, sighed, and walked away. I was really taken aback, but honestly he was giving me vibes that he didn't like me based on previous experiences when looking at other houses. I brushed it off, and we all continued to look at the rest of the house. We looked at the basement and my husband asked the same question I asked Bob in the kitchen. Bob excitedly told my husband about the bedrooms with details and encouraged him and my in-laws to look at it next. He looked at everyone, except for me. That's when I really got mad and I walked away from the group and went outside with my kids, because they were getting antsy anyways. After the showing, my mother-in-law tells me that I was rude to walk away when Bob was talking to all of us. I told her what happened, but she continued to tell me it was rude and that Bob is a close friend of theirs. I later on told my husband about it and he's furious that Bob would do and that he also noticed a weird vibe from him towards me. I can't shake off what happened today and the words from my mill. Am I the asshole for walking away today? This may be important to the story, but it is my speculation that this is the cause for everything. I am black and my husband and in-laws are white. We live in a predominantly white area in rural NY. There aren't a lot of us around here and I get looks from white people all the time. Not the asshole. Bob sucks. Also, don't go house hunting with your in-laws, especially if the realtor is their friend. You're giving them too much power to guilt you into making a major financial decision because it'll benefit their relationship with their friend, not you. Your mother-in-law has already made it clear who her priority is here. This guy isn't treating you like his client, so you shouldn't be his client. Not the asshole. This is racist, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. You and your husband, because your in-laws will be pissed, should complain about him to the board of realtors. They take ethical breaches pretty seriously. Find another realtor. Just a suggestion, but this guy would hate losing a commission to a black realtor. You need a new realtor. Bob's actions were not professional. Let your husband explain it to Bob and his parents. You find a realtor you connect with. House hunting is hard enough without being sidelined by the person who is supposed to be a source of support and information. Not the asshole. Dude's a prick, maybe even a racist prick. Go find a different realtor. This dude isn't worth your time. Not the asshole. A realtor works for you, no matter who recommended them. If he's rolling his eyes at you and you're getting a bad vibe from him, find a new realtor. You should have led with the end. Your mother-in-law doesn't like that, but I am guessing you already knew that. Unless they are paying for the house or down payment, get a new realtor. Why pay someone who doesn't respect you? Am I the asshole for reporting a coworker for stealing my lunch even though she got fired and has kids? I work at this warehouse job, mostly dudes. Everyone brings their own lunch and throws it in the fridge in the break room. Couple weeks ago I noticed my lunch went missing. Then it happened again. And again. Third time I was pissed. I started writing my name big on the containers and even left a note like, "Stop stealing people's food." Still didn't stop. I told my supervisor and asked if they could check the cameras. Turns out it was this lady I work with. She's like one of the only women there, maybe 30s, has a couple kids I think. She admitted to it when they talked to her. Said she was broke and didn't have food. I don't get it. If you've got kids, maybe get your money right before having a bunch of them. Not my problem you can't budget or plan ahead. I bring leftovers and cheap stuff, it's not hard. Don't steal from other people because of your own mistakes. She ended up getting fired a couple days later. Now people at work are giving me crap, saying I got a single mom fired and that I should have just let it go. It is BS. I don't care who you are, don't touch my stuff. I didn't ask for her to get fired. I just wanted to eat the lunch I brought to work. But now everyone's acting like I'm the bad guy and work sucks. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole over the lunch issue, but I'd caution you that your attitude of, get your money right before having a bunch of kids, is seriously assholish. You don't know what her circumstances were when she had them, and even if they weren't what you'd consider ideal, it's none of your business. You're not the asshole for reporting the theft. You're not even the asshole for being upset she was eating your food. You have no obligation to feed anyone outside your own household, but you are an enormous DCK swab for blaming this woman for her poverty. You have no idea what's going on in her life. Maybe she did have her stuff together before having kids, then her husband died. There's thousands of other reasons this woman could be in the situation she's in, completely not her fault. That doesn't excuse her behavior, but your lack of empathy is disgusting. Not the asshole, but I actually think the villain in this story is the employer that pays her so little she can't afford food working a full-time job. You're not the asshole for reporting the theft, but you could have less of an attitude about her life choices. I would have at least recommended a food pantry nearby as an alternative to stealing my lunch. I just wanted to comment on the prevalence of work lunch thief posts and what makes me not believe many of them, such as this one. If there is a single refrigerator that everyone throws their lunch into, what a statistical anomaly that it's always your lunch out of X number of options that keeps getting chosen. Additionally, if someone was trying to sneak other people's lunches, why would you keep picking the one that says, please don't steal, when there's 30 plus other options? Of course, I'm not saying it's impossible, but the number of similar posts and the logic behind it makes it improbable for sure. Actually, it is hard. You're not the asshole for reporting the theft, but your complete lack of empathy for this woman and her situation is ugly. Not the asshole, you couldn't have possibly known that reporting your food being stolen would get her fired. That being said, talking about a single mother experiencing poverty in such cruel terms makes you the asshole completely separate of the food theft situation.